This is the CEO talking about NEO's massive losses. And he's addressing these massive losses. And he said what he said is very, very important. And I think it's very important for you guys to consider. He said you guys shouldn't look at it as losses, but more as investment into R&D. And you guys should take that part out separately, because NEO invests heavily into R&D. And he said the auto industry is a long-term battle, and you have to invest in R&D, and that would be equivalent to planting seeds. And these seeds will eventually grow out, and after a while bear fruit, and you can harvest this, and over 4 or 5 period, you will have a very good product. And he said it's very important that you guys look at it from this perspective. And if you don't spend that money on R&D, by not planting the seed, that means after a while you will not have anything to harvest. So it's very crucial that they spend this money on R&D now. I think the question that you guys all want to know is this R&D actually bearing fruit? And I want to say yes. And there are some aspects to it. For example, NEO became the best performing car in the Moose test. In the Moose test, which was just absolutely incredible, 84 km/h. It was the highest performing SUV in the Moose test. And that really shows how much they've spent on R&D and is really paying off. And then the other aspect, which I also posted on recently, nighttime AEB braking during rain or when it's raining. And that aspect NEO also got first place, which is pretty surprising as well. So as you can tell, NEO's gotten first place for many of these important things that makes a car are really safe or very, very good. And that absolutely is paying off. That's NEO's R&D paying off. However, I want to address this thing. I think they're spending a lot on R&D, but I think their marketing isn't as aggressive as some of the other guys because, to be honest, NEO's marketing is more low-key, low-profile. We don't want to take jabs at anybody, or we don't want to piss anybody off. We're just the really smart kid or the really humble smart dude in the black. But if you look at what the other guys are doing like Liado, they're more out there aggressive marketing, we are the best whatever. And they actually became very famous for saying the statement, we are the best SUV under 5 million R&B, which is pretty insane to think about, that they actually said that statement. And the way they market their cars is really aggressive. They compare it with other guys, and Liado always finds a way to make themselves look the best, right? When it comes to, like, for example, cars, the torsional strength of the cars, it's not better than NEO. NEO's has better torsional strength, but they would intentionally compare themselves with other gasoline vehicles, and they would be the best when you compare to other gasoline vehicles. And then when it comes to safety, they would compare it with other gasoline vehicles. Yes, we're the most safe. And then when it comes to range, all of a sudden they start comparing themselves with electric vehicles. We're the furthest new energy vehicle. We have no range anxiety, we drive the furthest, we can drive the furthest. And I guess this type of marketing, it's really, I guess, unpleasant for some people, but it actually really works. And I think NEO has to market their R&D success, right? What we talked about the Moose test and also the safety of braking safety. They got to show that off. They got to absolutely market that. They got to have this chart, rain time, A/B testing, and maximum speed. NEO 70 km/h, Liado of 40 km/h, Exponent 40 km/h. You got to have that. Make a poster. Show that off. Moose test first place. Best SUV. NEO right up there. And then second place, third place, fourth place, and then whoever's down there, let them know. Let them know all these guys are below you. You gotta let customers know, because otherwise it's gonna be misguided. People are going to get misguided by the advertising of other companies. And it's very stupid. NEO has 4 or an X chips, right? Some of the other cars, they only have 1. So then when they compare the processors, NEO has or an X. We also have or an X, but one of them has 4, the other one has 1. They don't talk about that. So I think it's absolutely necessary for NEO to advertise in that correct aspect, to show off what they're so good at, and then also list the competitors and show them who's the boss. That's a problem. NEO doesn't show people who's the boss. And then customers are misguided by the other guys showing them, we have the best range. Know what NEO should do. NEO should make a chart, discuss electricity replenishment time for 100 kilowatt hours. And of course, NEO 3.5 minutes for battery swap, and then you guys, all the other guys they got to charge. And that would be like 1 hour or 2 hours. Write that down. And then, what brand that is share that poster? I mean, those are all truthful facts, it was all truthful numbers. You got to let people understand that. But Neo doesn't do that kind of stuff. So I think what I'll do is, if this video gets a lot of likes, then I'll make my own version of those posters, showing people who's actual boss with actual stats. All right, not fake stats, actual stats, and actually be able to promote that in China. And also I'll share it with a lot of Neo sales reps, and maybe they can even share that as well, and show them who's actual boss. Right? That's very important. You spend that much money on R&D, and it's successful, but you don't show it off. That's a big problem. Cool. And then also on the topic of R&D cash burn expenses, there is always the discussion, and even in my opinion, that they're working on too much stuff that's not related, and perhaps that could be also classified as overspending on R&D. Because if you think about it clearly, every single company has R&D, of course, right? You can't just say only Neo has R&D, nobody else has R&D. How come Tesla has R&D, and they've managed to make things work? So everybody has R&D, but it's managing how much you spend on R&D, correct? And what about the things that you're spending R&D on? Neo is making a phone, there's Neos making headphones, Neos making smartwatches. Are these really absolutely necessary at this moment? Especially when auto sales, the car sales aren't doing that good. And also, of course, they're working on it 3.0, which I think is very important. They got to come up with that as soon as possible. But then at the same time they're working on the sub-brand, they're spending R&D, massive amounts of R&D on that as well. So is that absolutely necessary? I think the sub-brand is very important. Cool. But you got to see from this aspect of, are they overspending on R&D? Yes, Neo is spending money on R&D, it's very important, it lays the seeds for future success. But are they overspending? That's the other question that we need to think about. All right, so when it comes to losses, it's mostly just investment in R&D and it's paying off. But Neo needs to show it off. Neo needs to show it off. That's a very important part. And also, I guess they could start to consider being a bit more stringent with their R&D spending, than not spending like hundreds of millions of US dollars every quarter just on R&D for stuff that might not generate substantial revenue, like headphones and stuff. I mean, if Neo comes out with headphones, which they said they will, I'll probably buy a pair headphone. The Neo phone, we'll see, I'm still waiting to see what it looks like, and then if it's really good, sure, maybe I'll buy it. But yeah, that was a quick video about the CEO's response on R&D and massive losses. Guess if Neo just stopped doing R&D, of course, losses will become substantially less. But at the same time, we'll see problems in the future. So R&D is a must. They must spend money on R&D. All right. Thank you all for tuning in as we explore the fascinating world of NIO Incorporated, the leading Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer. If you found this video informative and enjoyed learning about NIO stock, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow investors. To stay updated on the latest insights and developments regarding NIO and the electric vehicle industry, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We'll continue to provide valuable analysis, market trends, and potential investment opportunities. Remember, investing in the stock market carries risks, so it's essential to conduct your own research and consult with a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. We sincerely appreciate your support and thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more exciting content, and we'll see you in the next video.